And I almost think I lost it like twice here. The nightmare starts. There are three things that went wrong in sled push. The first three burpees that I did, those are the best burpee broad jumps of my life. And you can hear me screaming in this clip. It is not because my muscles were strained or anything. Tring, 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 tring. Wait, who is it? Oh, hello? Hello? Is it YouTube? Is it YouTube? Sorry for that. Please don't unsubscribe. And if you're here for the first time, I'm Kritik and I recently finished Hyrox Bengaluru, and this is indeed my first Hyrox. Now, if you guys don't know what Hyrox is, it's an endurance event where you run 8 kilometers, and for every kilometer you run, you do one exercise, and this exercise is generally like pretty tough. And if 5 months back, someone was to tell me that I will finish my first Hyrox in which I will run 8 kilometers, let alone do the exercises, right? I would have not believed them. If I sound dead or tired, it's because it's only 2 days since this happened and I'm still recovering. My hamstrings are just getting alright. But we have to make this video because there's so much exciting things that happened I need to tell you. And even though I say I'm dead, this is what I said right after the race. Can do one more. And if you're going to do your first Hyrox, this video is going to have a station by station breakdown of what happened in my race. I'm also going to be adding like the mistakes I did so that you guys don't repeat it again. So stick along. This might be a long video, but I have attached the timestamps just in case you are interested in some specific station. So feel free to jump ahead. But let's get started. I was doing Hyrox doubles with my cousin, and as seen before, we got a timing of 1 hour 40 minutes 23 seconds, and I'm super grateful for it. Now, Hyrox is a super tough event. We were aiming for a timing of 1:30, but a week before, I had sprained my back trying to do a Hyrox full simulation. No matter, even if we had like 1:40, I was just like happy that I got to even compete, because with this back pain, I completely cut off all exercises 1 week before. I went to a physio because the pain was not dying, and the physio actually helped. We did something called as a targeted cryotherapy or something. And generally, if somebody is looking to compete in Hyrox, I feel timing should really be your secondary concern. The primary thing is that you should have fun, and that is really easy because every second I was on the racetrack, there was crazy EDMs playing. Everything was so enjoyable that I had the best 2 hours of my life. Starting from the time where the race was about to just start, in the Red Bull race line, in the warm-up area, and even in the post-workout region, right? Everything was so fun. And even after the race, where I was supporting my friends, the music was going on. I was just like vibing to it. I was just cheering for my friends. So after Hyrox, to whoever asks me, how did Hyrox go? I straight up say, Hyrox was the best concert I've ever attended in my life. It was the greatest event, guys. I swear to God. So I had trained hard for Hyrox. Hyrox training, as you know, is like pretty difficult. And even Hyrox simulation was not that fun. It was very difficult. But during the race, when I was running it with my cousin, my doubles partner, we were having a lot of fun. The music was like on point, the exercises were on point, and even the run at some point started feeling enjoyable. Okay, that's a huge intro, but let's get started. On the day of Hyrox, we were strategizing almost till midnight. We had planned out at what time we should enter each station, exit each station, our race pace, which we planned to be as 6, but somehow our race pace got entirely messed up. I'll tell you about it. Probably the most important thing pre-race is your nutrition. We were heavily carb loaded. We had like a dosa, a idiyappam, some honey and a protein shake. And just before the race started, we had 2 bananas, so our nutrition was all set. The problem was, we reached the venue 1 hour before, and when we are entering, we see the registration line is about 20 minutes long. If 20 minutes was to go, we only have 40 minutes till our race start time, which means we have no time to warm up. So I start doing warm up. I was doing like shoulder rotations while standing in the registration line. And the moment our turn comes, we get our race chip and we immediately go to the station where I meet Muthu. Muthu is my Hyrox coach. So he was giving debriefing. He had reached 1 hour before. And even though it's not his race day, his race was the next day, he was cheering us throughout the event and it was like really golden. We'll come back to that later. So one good thing we did is that we saw the whole race layout 1 day before in Instagram Live. So a lot of things were not surprising to us. But then again, there was about 20 to 30 minutes left for the race to start. And we had just entered the venue. So we quickly wear our shoes, go to the washroom and enter the warm-up area. So warm-up area, along with us, there were like a lot of athletes who were, also warming up. And this is when, for the first time, when we tried to push the sled, we realized it was not moving. So I have practiced with extra 50 kgs more than race weight, but for whatever reason, the carpet here was a lot rougher. So people tell you, right, that the carpet in Hyrox is generally a lot different than how you practice. That is the first time I got to realize. So this was yet again still warm up, and let me tell you, this was one big mistake. We'll come to it later, but I'm trying to push and it's not moving. And I was like, whatever, okay, I have practiced a lot, so I can do it in the race anyway, so I leave it. And then we enter the Red Bull start line. So let me describe the start line to you. It's like a box in which there's like red blue lighting, and there's constantly them saying, this is what you have been preparing for, your time has come, and some motivating slogans like that. But the time Titanium by Sia started playing, I was in cloud nine. The song was going like Ricochet and take you. I was like, boo. Dude, it was a mind blown moment. I was finally starting to understand the dopamine of the situation I was in. The one event that I've spent 4 months preparing for is just about to start. I look around, right? Me and my cousin, we are relatively not jacked. My cousin still has like six packs and stuff, but everybody around us is insanely strong. Like you can look at them, you can look at the size of their biceps, and you can realize that, oh shit, these guys are a lot stronger. But then you have practiced for this event for 4 months. So you know a lot of things about this race that a lot of people don't, and you are well prepared for it, was what I was thinking. I turn around, there were like people high-fiving, there were people like encouraging each other from different teams. Everybody was like, good luck, fist bump, and things like that. It was a huge vibe. Time was ticking down. We had 5 minutes inside the Red Bull start line, and as it came to 1 minute, everybody was like, slowly warming up. Everybody was starting to feel the energy. I was also slowly jumping to the beats of Titanium, and it was so fun, dude. Oh my god, it was one of the best things I've ever experienced. Like, I can still feel the chills. The chills in that starting line was crazy. Finally, the clock ticks down. We start our first run. Our planned pace was around 6:30 to 7 here, but we end up doing it in 5:55. The first race lap is a little bit longer than 1 kilometer, and to finish it in 5:55 meant that we were running a 5:30 pace. The problem with 5:30 pace in the first lap could be that I am not accustomed to running at 5:30, which means I'm going to burn out my endurance capability by a lot. That was alright. So we enter ski. We set the resistance at 7, which is the same resistance we practiced at. But then when I start to pull it, right, it was moving like butter. I was doing it at a pace of 2 and very comfortably. A 2 pace in ski means that you will finish 1 kilometer in almost 4 minutes. So we were pulling it, it was going like buttery smooth, and I was feeling so good. So this run that we had completed, the exhaustion was not a lot because we had only finished almost like 1 kilometer. And then the ski, I was feeling really good. I was enjoying, I was like vibing to music, and this was me. My doubles partner, on the other hand, the thing is, inside Hyrox, there's a lot of loud music, so you can't exactly communicate properly. And he had cramped his abs. I don't even know how that's possible. He was telling his abs got cramped, and he was telling me to continue skiing. But for me, I sort of heard it as, let's exchange and let him do the ski or something like that. So while I was having the time of my life, my cousin, he was completely suffering. He was trying to adjust his cramps. He was trying to do whatever he can. And thankfully, we had a gym coach who had seen that he was cramping. He was suggesting some breathing out technique to him. And I did not know all this was happening, okay? I was just in my zone. I was vibing to the songs. I was like having the time of my life when my doubles partner was suffering. So he exchanges again. I do it again. He was apparently telling me to not switch, telling me to finish the station. But I noticed there's 150 meters left. And I was just vibing, right? So I'm like, bro, I'm like done, finish it off, let's go. Because he's the faster runner, he's supposed to finish the station. And I was like vibing, right? So I was like, bro, come, you finish the last 150 meters, I'm gonna just chill. And my bro was suffering at that time. Apparently, his abs was just starting to relax, and I just gave him a swap. And he somehow managed to finish, and we run. And during the run, that is when he was telling me his abs are cramping. But I was like, there's nothing much we could do about it, right? So we continue running, and second run, we also finish it under 6 pace. Then the nightmare starts. There are 3 things that went wrong in sled push. Firstly, our race pace for the first 2 laps, they were really fast. And I don't mean it in a good way. It was faster than what we had planned. So our legs were almost starting to fatigue, right? And sled push is notoriously known to make or break your race. Because if you push a little too hard and if you burn out your quads, you are probably not going to be able to maintain any race pace after. And this is exactly what happened to us. Second mistake, when I start to push the sled, I noticed that it's a lot harder. The carpet was not allowing me to push it freely, and I start to panic. I panic so much that I enter the wrong lane, and the judge gives me a warning. And even though he gave me a warning, I somehow feel like I did not even realize that was what was happening. I simply thought he was like pointing at me or something. I did not know that was the first warning. And then he gives us the 15-second penalty. Frankly, I could not hear anything. I was zoned out. I was stressed out. I was like, why is this push not moving? Am I burning out my legs or something? But we had to do anyway, right? And now, when my cousin gives a swap, I'm trying to push, it's not moving, and I burn out my legs. And if your legs burn out in the station, your pace is going to go low. My coach told me this, Instagram posts have told me this, and yet I did that mistake. I burnt out my legs. But later on, I noticed that our timings in sled were still good. We finished it in 3:22. But after that, our entire race pace was messed up. So we start the next lap. We were running like kind of slow, and then we enter pull. Remember what I told about my back injury? That was because of my imbalance in the way I pull. The thing about Hyrox is that a lot of people, they don't have fully developed muscles to handle the weight in the race, and I'm exactly that. I think my muscles overcompensate, and just because they overcompensate, my right back had a lot of knots. So when I went to physiotherapy and they were like, doing the massage, I could literally feel a ball like thing over here. That is the amount of knots I had. So sled pull was going to be my weakest station in this race. And the plan was that my cousin, who's like also a little stronger than me, he was supposed to pull from the further end and I will finish the rest of it. So we were supposed to do half-half. Problem, yet again, was that during our second pull, I had accidentally somehow, I don't know how, accidentally tied a knot over our sled pull. So when my cousin was pulling, the sled literally did not move. The knot was making it significantly harder. So he goes to the sled, tries to untie the knot, and then he comes back. And in this moment, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to continue because according to race regulations, he's supposed to stay behind me. But since he's ahead of me in the, sled area, he's trying to like undo the knot and all. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to pull. Sled pull went more terribly than expected because of the knot. And our timing was around like 6 minutes, which is a lot for sled pull. I think this is one of the biggest sections which we both can improve. I think for me personally, I feel like my muscles are not trained for the pull movement. My back muscles in general are to be trained better. So next Hyrox, I feel like we can easily shave off like 3 minutes in this section if we properly train our lats and our lower back region and everything that goes into sled pull. But yet again, I had to be super safe here because this is my injury risk station. Thankfully, we were able to do it fine and everything went out exactly as planned. We planned to finish the station at around 5 minutes to account for the pain in my back and all. So 6 minutes is still fine. So we were like all cool. And then these three stations are the most problematic for us specifically. So after this, everything was so chill. Our run was still slow, but the moment we enter Burpee, oh my god, I had the time of my life, dude. So as soon as Burpee started, my cousin being the faster runner, he starts the station. And that's when my favorite song started playing. You know this one song in your run playlist, as soon as it starts playing, you get hyped and then you run like super fast because like this is your song. That is Temperature by Sean Paul for me. And Temperature by Sean Paul is playing in the moment. And the chorus part, which is like the super high energy, the moment it started, my cousin was doing it. And this is my high energy moment and I had to start. So I was like getting like super excited. I was like expecting him to move, but this guy, he's going on doing it, right? And the moment he steps up, I just fly. The first 3 burpees that I did, those are the best burpee broad jumps of my life. There, I don't think I have done anything that better than the ones that I did in Hyrox. And mind you, this is after 4 kilometers of running. I'm out there doing the best burpees of my life. Like, I had the time of my life. And then, again, I give it, the song changes. The next song, Goosebumps, Travis Scott. I'm like freaking out because this is yet again my run playlist song and it's playing right after one of another banger song which had already got me excited. You can see the excitement in my energy right now, right? I was 200 times more excited back then. So my cousin was again in the station. He was trying to push as much as he can because apparently his legs were cramping, and the only time his cramps would relax is if he was actually doing the exercise. But for me, my favorite song is playing, and I don't care. So the moment he stood up, I was like, dude, Goosebumps is playing. I gotta be doing burpees now. I literally push him away and I start doing burpees. You can see the judge is trying to stop my cousin. He's like, your partner has started, you stop, or something like that. And it was crazy. I was like having the time of my life. This 3 minutes in burpee, which placed us in top 150 in this section, was amazing. If you see the spider graph, right, you can see that burpee clearly has like the biggest rating, and it is all thanks to EDMs, guys. EDMs saved our burpee station. We were planning that we'll somehow finish it in 6 minutes. I don't know why that plan was, but we finished it in 3 minutes, 22 seconds, like crazy. I was. Oh. If I think about the race, this is my biggest core memory. I go back to what happened in the station like twice, thrice. It's just like a super huge core memory for me. And this finishes again, yet again, we are just, running a bad pace because of our sled push. And then it's time for Farmer's Carry. Farmer's Carry is again a risky station because of my, back injury. And I also, in general, have a very weak lower back. So the plan was that I completely relax in the station and I let my doubles partner do it. Somewhere around the 50-meter mark, I think fatigue hits him too. So he drops the Farmer's Carry. And in this section, as a doubles team, right, you're not supposed to take breaks during Farmer's Carry. You're supposed to keep moving it because there are two people here. I just turn to my cousin, I look at him, I'm like, should I continue? And he's like, yeah, go. And I pick it up and run for 20 meters in a station where I was supposed to take break just so that my injury doesn't aggravate or something. Thankfully, nothing happened. I take it up, drop it like around in just like 20 meters, and then he continues. Yet again, after 40 meters, he gives me back. And I pick it up, run for 10 meters, and I give it to him. He runs a little bit more. And yet again, he gives me. I'm like freaking out because I'm supposed to be taking rest in this section. I'm supposed to be making sure that I don't injure myself further. But 10 more meters, let's go. I was like, okay, bro, this is the last time I'm picking it. I pick it up, run. And afterwards, yet again, just before the finish line, he drops it. I'm like so dead because if I pick it up right now, I have to finish this section. Finishing the section in Farmer's Carry means you have to go back and place it properly at the starting point. If you don't place it properly, you'll get a penalty. And placing it properly means you have to be very coordinated with all your muscles and all. And that is exactly what I'm not supposed to do. But thankfully, somehow I just place it properly. I'm like bending like this, my shoulders are straining, but I just put I put the left kettlebell down first. I take the stability of that and then very slowly drop my right shoulder. Right is where the injury is. And finally, thankfully, that section was another 3 minutes. But the thing is, I have not recovered in my race pace or in my endurance capability, cardiovascular, whatever. I've not recovered at all, right? So our race pace increases yet again. We go from averaging like 640 to almost doing like a 720 or something. Yet again, I'm like fine because sandbag lunges is my comfortable station. Wallballs again is yet again my comfortable section. So every exercise after that is fine. But our race pace is so messed up at this point that it becomes so hard. So we enter sandbag lunges and then the next problem starts. So when I started training for Hyrox, I could not even do sandbag lunges with 10 kgs. But here I was doing with 20. And in my practice, I sometimes even trained with 30 kgs. So I'm really grateful for how far I've come here. And I'm just like super happy about this station. But the problem is, we had expected the mat to be a lot more softer. So the way I practiced was that I would let my knee bounce so that my quads and my hamstrings would like fully relax on one leg while they were going down, and we would just like let it bounce and use the momentum to get it back on. But the problem here was that this was a very hard ground. So the moment I was trying to hit and get the bounce right, my knees were suffering like an impact that I did not expect. I somehow expected it to be a lot softer, but it was not. And I have already practiced it this way, right? And my practice habits were still reflecting here, and I was continuously banging my knees. And you can hear me screaming in this clip. It is not because my muscles were strained or anything. And it was because I was subconsciously hitting my knees on the floor, which was not soft at all. You can see in this practice clip, you can see that I'm like a lot comfortable with it. But here the flooring was different. I realized that I need to take a break. I ask for a swap, then I take a break and I look at my coach. I'm like, my knee is hurting. Like, what is going on? Why is this carpet this hard? And then we keep going. Nothing else. I think the problem with this station again was that our hamstrings. The problem is that like my cousin's quads had started cramping. He was like running, and in between the run, I was like, hitting on his leg and shit like that. I was just having fun at that point. And in this station, hamstring gets used a lot if you're going for, wider leg stances. And I was doing the wider thing. And the problem was that hamstrings were like just required for one more run, right? So I was like, whatever, let's just do it. The station finishes, we are like comfortable. The last run we had planned to, just sprint it out, but we were running 8 pace. I was not able to run honestly because at this point my quads are gone from the push, my hamstrings are gone from sandbag lunges, so my legs were like, barely sticking. It was just like running for the sake of running. And so my cousin was asking like, can you sprint? There are 2 laps left, let's at least sprint one of them. And I was like, no, I can't. And he was like understanding. He was like, okay, let's go. And Wallballs, for me, I was super comfortable. But for my cousin, it's a whole different story. He was scared about the station because in practice session, nothing was going. But the thing is, right, when you're practicing wall ball for the very first time, it's going to be randomly missing. But the next day you do it, your body is going to be automatically adjusted and you're going to do it fine. So I was confident on my cousin that he would be able to do it. I was constantly telling him, don't worry about the station. I believe that we both will be able to do it very easily. But I was expecting that I would do majority of it. But we were doing like about 60-40, I think. And throughout the station, you have to see how good people are supporting us, especially Muthu, the gym owner, the lead coach, everything. He was doing amazing. His motivation basically pushed us through the whole race.
Come on, keep going, keep going! Let's go, let's go!
And finally, when there was 72 left, I did like 8 and gave it to my cousin. He did the next 10. And then I asked my judge how much is left. He tells me that's 10. There's only 10 more left. And I don't need to do all the 10, right? So I do like 5, give it to my cousin. I'm like, let me just chill. He does the last 5. And then we realize Hyrox is over. Then we sprint like crazy, dude. We were just like lying down on the stage. We were just like relaxing. Thankful that it's over. Here are some post-race scenes.
I was so focused on finishing that I forgot the badge exists. I forgot to even collect it. And I almost think I lost it like twice here. But now I know. 140. Crazy, addictive. I want to do one more. Can do one more.
No, don't get me cancelled for that.
Hyrox, but no could not climb the jeep. What do you have to say?
And here are some more scenes from us supporting our friends. This has already been a pretty much large video. I have to work on my muscles, I have to work on my running, but all this we'll analyze in a different video when we are closer to our next Hyrox. We will be doing Hyrox Mumbai in September, and I'm like super excited for that. I'm going to take away everything that we have learned from this Hyrox and I'm going to implement it there. Hopefully, along this video, you guys had some insights too on how our race went, and if you want to stick with my Hyrox journey, then hit the subscribe button and I'll see you again in a different video. Till then, stay safe, continue training, and I'll see you again in a different video. Bye bye.